Hey everybody, it's Mike Young, lifestyle nutritionist with aPlantBasedDiet.org. Welcome to chapter 88, the year I graduated high school. I've lived to 150, my book on longevity, and I've got some notes on this chapter here. So I gotta keep these open. This is about relationships. I've had a couple of the chapters earlier in the book about, choosing the people you hang around with. You become like the 5 people you hang around with the most. A couple other general things, general things about psychology, and just how this is a mind thing. And I want to talk about relationships. Now, let's get into some real general talk about relationships. Are you single or do you have like a life partner? All right. Because this is a lot easier if you're single. Because unfortunately, in this day and age, in 2022, and I'm recording this, this is not what I'm describing in here about these longevity secrets and habits and all this stuff. This is not normal. All right. This is not the way things are in society. So you got one of two choices. Number one is being single. Nothing wrong with that. And actually, like I said, that's the easier choice because that's it. That's the end of my talk about it. Be single. Or if you want to have a life partner, I'd say that what has to happen is your life. You have to be totally okay with. And let's say you want to find a life partner. All right. Let's say you're single and you're okay with single. It's two different types of single. Single and okay with single. You're good. You're done. Right. Single and you want to find a life partner, you have to be patient. You have to wait. You have to make sure that the right person's kind of come along because I'm telling you, if this concept of longevity and wellness and having fun and not being sick, not being on maintenance pharmaceuticals, if this is important to you, you're going to have to wait for just the right person. Just the right person. All right. So you need to find somebody who you know specifically will be a good partner for you. And I would say a good strategy for that is if you're using dating apps or dating services, I need you to make sure that you put all this in your dating profile. Okay. All of it, all this stuff, any of the stuff in my book, and go back, read all the chapters that's important to you, put it in your dating profile. Because if you don't put it there, it's almost like a bait and switch, I would say, because you know it's important. You do. But the other person may not think it's important, and they may wonder, like a couple of years down the road, why you're stuck in this and where did this come from. And if you're going to be honest with them, you're going to tell them that I've always felt this way. Don't hide it. Don't hide it. You're just going to make this transition and this important thing in your life that you're passionate about even harder to get done. So you're not looking to find anybody that doesn't fit that description. Also make it clear in your dating profile, in your dating apps, whatever. All right. And then importance of, all right, well, okay. But then let's skip to, before we get into that, if you have a life partner. Now, if you have a life partner now, hopefully it's somebody that is open-minded and fits a lot of the other things we've said earlier in the book. A lot of these chapters are very early in the book. Because if they're not, you're going to have a very hard time. And you may feel like you need to choose between that life partner relationship and what you should do here in terms of how to live your life. That's what this book is about. It's almost like a life manual. And you don't ever want to be stuck in that because in most cases, I already know what the answer is going to be. You're not going to choose the right thing because you're going to think that relationship's more important. But the problem is, if you choose that and you know that relationship is bad, and maybe you didn't, okay, let's say maybe you didn't understand any of this and you were in this relationship before. Well, maybe it's time for that relationship to end. Because why would you ever want to be with somebody that is totally closed-minded and not willing to consider new ideas? That sounds to me like incredibly boring. Plus, you have to spend the rest of your life with them. Not to mention, what kind of example? If you have kids or other people, friends, you're always influencing your friends. What kind of example are you setting for them? What kind of a world are you going to leave for the people? What's your legacy going to be like? Oh, yeah, I know that this person was, destructive. They did all kinds of things that they shouldn't do. They behaved badly. I knew it all along, but I stuck with them anyway, which basically means you enabled them. You don't want to be an enabler. You don't want that to be your legacy for people, okay? I cannot stress this enough. That's enough about that. But now, the importance, also in terms of relationships, since this chapter is on relationship, I want to stress the importance of many friendships, having many friendships, not just your life partner, if you have one, or if you're single, if you're looking for a life partner. That's one part of this relationships. But I want to make sure you have lots of friends, lots of socializations. They can be either traditional or they can be digital, online, doesn't matter. But they all need to be people that you would people that you don't mind influencing you. Let's put it that way. Because if you're watching this book and reading this book, listening to this book, I'm sure that this is a very, very important aspect of your life. You need to make sure that these friends share that same passion. And like we have a lot of communities, actually. Our nonprofit, aPlantBasedDiet.org, has a big Facebook group. You can join that. Of course, we got Instagram, plantbasedevents.info is our Instagram. We got all kinds of social media that you can hook up with. Of course, just this YouTube channel. But get in the comments there, start to meet people. That's one way to find people. You can find these people because of the internet. In the past, like I grew up in the 70s and 80s. There was no way to find people or hang out with people that didn't live like in the area that you were living in, that specific area. It was like living in the Stone Age, actually, when I think about it now. So many opportunities now. Make sure you take advantage of them. You only have one life that I know about, so make sure you take advantage of it. Now, introvert versus extrovert, this factors into relationships. Believe it or not, I'm an introvert. I know a lot of people, including my wife, don't believe that, but I definitely am. I've had to work at it very, very, very hard. And maybe I think I look back at it, maybe the reason why I was such an introvert in the past is because I couldn't find anybody that I really got along well with. I only had the people that just happened to be there, that I was forced to have relationships with. And that was all pre-internet too. Now, internet, all my friends, all the people I really want to hang out with, I look at this now, I see, well, I met all these people through the internet. So it could be that's why you're an introvert. That's why you get trained that way. You can always retrain yourself. Even if you have one tendency to one or the other, and an introvert tends to, when you want to recharge, you go and be somewhere alone and quiet. And an extrovert, when you want to recharge, you tend to go somewhere where people are. I'm still an introvert. I still want to rather be in that place that's very quiet and peaceful and non-stressful when I want to recharge, which is on a regular basis. So I know that I'm an introvert. But in terms of your social skills, again, make sure that you are around people you actually want to be around. And you might find that you're a lot more extroverted than you thought you were, or you could possibly be. You could be if you train yourself. All right, another thing is this Eleanor Roosevelt quote I want to talk about. It is that small minds discuss people. Average minds discuss events, and great minds discuss ideas. These are the relationships you want to have with people that discuss ideas. All right. You do not want to be around people. I'm just telling you, because this is like a whole awakening, this living to 150. It's a elevating of consciousness. So if you are around people that are constantly talking about other people, like that's a theme, they're just gossiping. Anything other than firsthand information is gossip, by the way. Do not participate. All right. I mean, it's one thing to tell something about somebody else so they can get a frame of what you're about to tell them, which is the real thing. But if the real thing that they're talking about is just other people all the time, forget about it. I mean, like I said, I'm an introvert too. Introverts don't like small talk, and that's a good thing, because the small talk, like they say it, is usually just straight up gossip. Do not participate in that. Find other people to hang around. Events is the next level. You can talk about them from time to time, maybe a little bit, but you really want to discuss ideas. This whole book, share this, by the way, share these chapters with your friends. See how your friends react. Maybe you'll find out how or which friends you actually want to spend more time with. I have a feeling that you may find that out. So yeah, the bottom line on that is to remove yourself from folks that are constantly talking about other people. So hopefully you can see from this chapter on relationships that, because everything's intertwined. Of course, it was always intertwined before the internet because we always had relationships, but those relationships, like I said, were kind of randomized in a way, and they were kind of forced. Because if you wanted to have a relationship, you had to have a relationship with those people that you were just randomly stuck around. A lot of people in the past thought it was, it's chance, fate, whatever. I guess maybe, I don't know, but it was very limiting in the past. Now you don't have to live a life like that. Do not, okay? If somebody's stuck in the past, even like me, I grew up in the 70s, 80s. If somebody's stuck in that kind of mindset of 1979 or whatever, that was a Smashing Pumpkins song, I think, then that's not going to go anywhere unless you're okay with never changing and always living in the past and doing these self-destructive things, because that's how it was in the 70s and 80s. I can tell you that's when everything, the American dream was like starting to be fully realized by everybody, or had just been in the previous generation. And we're going to get to talk about that too. I'm going to have a chapter on the American dream in the near future here in the book. So definitely utilize the long tail of the internet, utilize the connections, utilize any of what we have on our website, aPlantBasedDiet.org. We have communities on there. If you look for groups, we have events where you can meet people like in person as well. Because I mean, you should kind of have a hybrid of in-person relationships with actual real humans that you're actually seeing, you can touch, that kind of thing. And then you should have stuff online too, and then some of those relationships go from one way to the other. You meet them online and then you see them in person and vice versa. But don't sit here and say that you can't find anybody to support me. I'm always hanging around the same people. There's no excuses anymore. Those days are over. It's 2022. So let me know any strategies you have too in the comments, things that you have done to help to foster, good relationships, new relationships, meeting new people, whether it's romantically or just to have friendships, which you need to have. You need to have these things ongoing because, if you believe that this book that I've got out here, these concepts are real and they're important, then you recognize the importance of connecting with everyone so that, let's say, like the environment, of course, is going to benefit if you're living long, and you want the environment to be strong. If you're living long, you've got to get other people involved. You can't just do this on your own. I'm not talking about, hopefully you realize, I'm not talking about just locking yourself up in your house, putting on your headset, getting in the matrix, and that's it. You don't ever do anything ever again. I am not advocating that. That's why I have this specific chapter, on the relationships. And I look forward to reading your feedback, your comments, tag some of your friends. Tell us any experiences that you think are relatable or important to this concept. And also be sure you subscribe to the channel and hit the bell for notifications. And we'll see you in the next chapter. Bye-bye.